Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to do the study guide for Unit 6. So, let us begin. Number 1, exponential growth and decay. So, we're going to write an equation to model the situation. This is the situation. To help pain relief, some doctors recommend aspirin. A full dose of aspirin is 325 milligrams and can be taken every 4 to 6 hours. The aspirin decreases each hour by about 28% in the human body. Remember, the very first thing is to change your percent to a decimal. So divide by 100 and you would get 0.28. Alright, so y is going to be the amount of aspirin left in the body and x is the number of hours. So we write our equation, y equals. We are starting with 325 milligrams, so 325. Now, before I fill in the parentheses, I need to do a little scratch work. So remember, inside the parentheses, we would do 1 minus, because of the word decrease, and 1 minus the 0.28. Now, I do not want the minus sign in our final answer. That's why we're doing this scratch work off to the side. So that would be 0.72. So our final answer is y equals 325.72 to the x power. Okay, now if you take a full dose of aspirin, how much will be left in your system after 3 hours? So we can use our calculator. We can simply go to our y equals screen. We can type in 325 times the 0.72 raised to the x power. Go to your table, second graph. Look up the number 3 for 3 hours, and we see that we have 121.3 milligrams left in our system. Please label. Okay, next, population. In 2012, the population of Minnesota, in millions of people, could be modeled with the following equation. P equals 2.379 times 1.022 to the t power. P is the population and t is the time since 2012. So the first question, what is the population of Minnesota? Well, that will be right in front of the parentheses. So we're going to write 2.379. Now you need to put what that number actually is, and that would be million. Either that or you need to stick the zeros on it. Okay, but I would just write the word million behind that. Number 4, at what percent is the population growing? Okay, so this is where we want to look at what's behind the decimal. We do not want to include the 1. Okay, we do not want to include the 1. Remember, the 1 is holding the value of the population, but then we're increasing it by a certain percent. So if we drop the 1 off, we have the decimal 0.022. Change that to a percent, multiply by 100, and that would be 2.2%. Make sure you put the percent symbol on it. Next question. What is the estimated population of Minnesota in 2020? Well, first of all, this population for the equation is from 2012, and we want to know what it is in 2020. Well, 2020 is 8 years later. So we're going to look at the 8 in our table. So we're going to have to type this into our calculator, and then we're going to go to our table and look it up. So again, we're going to go to our y equals. we're going to type in the 2.379 times the 1.022, and we have to use x, and then we can go to our table and we can go to the number 8. Okay, here's the number 8 right there. That's representing the year 2020. And we're going to write 2.8314 million. 2.8314, and please write the word million behind it. Okay, moving on. Suppose you deposit $10,000 into an account that earns 3.8% annually. All right, well, you are earning money, so we know that's going to be a plus, and the decimal for 3.8 is 0.038. We're starting with $10,000. So y equals 10,000 times, okay, now again I'm going to do a little scratch work here. The parenthesis would be 1 plus 0.038. I do not want the plus sign in our final answer, so add those together. That's 1.038 to the x power. Just like the other problems, we're going to go ahead and go to our calculator. We're going to go to our y equals. We're going to type in our $10,000. And then we're going to go ahead and put our 1.038 raised to the x power. All right. So if you have the money in the account, how much will you have after 40 years? All right. Well, we're going to have to go all the way to 40. Okay. Whoops, it didn't like something. Let me fix this real quick. Oh, I have 2 decimals in it. There we go. All right, let's go to 40. All right, now you can scroll to 40, but I'm going to jump to 40, so you can scroll there. I'm just going to jump using my table set. And so, wow, that's a good increase. So after 40 years, the $10,000 is going to grow to, and I'm going to go on top of that number, and I'm going to look at the bottom. $44,452.29. $44,452.29. All right, let's move on to page 2. All right, new car. Suppose the value of a new car you bought can be modeled with the following equation. The value equals $26,999 times 0.77 to the t power. V is the value and t is the time elapsed in years. So, how much did you buy the car for? Again, that's right in front. So that's $26,999. At what percent did the car depreciate? Okay, so we got to be careful here. At what percent did the car depreciate? Well, inside the parentheses is 0.77, but our answer is not 77%. That's how much the value of the car remains. Now remember, to get that 0.77, we got to think about what did we subtract to get that. So I'm just going to go backwards. I'm going to take 1 minus the 0.77, and that's going to give me 0.23. Multiply that by 100, so the answer is 23%. So the car, the percent that it depreciates each year is by 23%, not 77. 77 is how much remains, how much of the value remains. All right, so how much is the car worth after 5 years? So again, we're going to go to our y equals. We're going to type in $26,999. And we're going to multiply that by the 0.77 raised to the x power. And we're going to go to our table. And I'm going to jump back to the 5. Okay, so I'm going to do my little table set. You can scroll there if you need to. So after 5 years, and again I'm going to go on top of the number, and I see that it is $7,308. Look at the bottom of the screen, and 5 cents if I use my rounding rules. All right, so $7,308.05. Okay, so that was dealing with the very first lesson of the unit on exponential growth and exponential decay. The second part of the unit was on exponent rules. All right, so simplify each expression. Here we go. So the first thing I notice, ladies and gentlemen, is I've got a negative exponent. Remember, we are not allowed to have negative exponents. So there's that little saying, cross the line, change the sign. All right, so what's going to happen here is the 3 to the negative 4 power is going to drop down to the denominator. And the x squared, that 2 is positive, so that's going to remain in the numerator. Okay, but I'm not quite done yet because I want to simplify what is 3 to the 4th power. Okay, so it's x squared over, now 3 to the 4th power is 81. That is my answer. X squared over 81. Number 12. Now remember, there are 3 rules to exponents. If it's not an exponent, do not apply the rules to those numbers. Okay, only apply the rules to the exponents. So like the 4 and the 5, those are not exponents. So what we need to do with the 4 and the 5 is we need to multiply them together. And that's 20. Then after the 20, we're going to put the letter x. Okay, x squared and x cubed, this is where we are going to add the exponents together. So that's x to the 5th. That's our answer, 20x to the 5th. Number 13. So the 20 and the 4 are not exponents. So that means 20 is being divided by 4. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now, we have x to the 5th over x. Now remember, x has an exponent of 1. When you don't see an exponent, it's a 1. And the rule here is subtract. So 5 take away 1 is 4. So 5x to the 4th, and then we still have the letter y. 7 minus 3 is also 4. That is our answer. Okay, number 14. So you will notice we have 2 groupings. We've got all of this in parentheses, and then there's an exponent right here squared. We also have this grouped with an exponent of 4. Now remember, only apply the rules to exponents. All right, let's begin with the 5. So 5 is going to get squared. Okay, I'm just going to write it. So that's 5 squared. I am going to simplify that in a little bit, but 5 squared. Okay, the rule here is you have an a to the 3rd, and then you have the 2. Well, that would be multiplication in this case. So 3 times 2, so that's a to the 6th. Same thing with the 4 and the 2. This is where we multiply. So that would be b to the 8th. Times. Okay, so now this would be 3 to the 4th. Again, that 3 is raised to the 4th power. 3 is not an exponent, so 3 to the 4th power. 4 is an exponent, and that's an exponent. So that's where we're going to multiply them together. So that's a to the 16th. And same thing with this 2 and 4. We're going to multiply them together. That's b to the 8th. Okay, we're not quite done yet. So the 5 squared, I'm just going to cross that off, and I'm going to put 25. 5 squared is 25. 3 to the 4th power, okay, I'm just going to cross that off or erase it, and I'm going to replace that with 81. Okay, 3 to the 4th power is 81. Now, 25 is going to get multiplied to 81. So 25 times 81 is going to be 2,025. Now the rule here, a to the 6th, a to the 16th. The rule here for exponents, again, is to add. So 6 plus 16, so that would be 22. So a to the 22 power. Same thing with the exponent of the b. We have b to the 8th, b to the 8th. 8 plus 8 is 16. That is our answer. 15. In this problem, you will notice that all of this is grouped, and there's an exponent of 3 on the outside. Well, first, if you follow your order of operations, we need to take care of what's inside the parentheses. So, we're going to take the 7 times the 2, which is 14. Then we're going to take m squared and the m cubed. That's where we add them together. So that's m to the 5th. N to the 5th and n, that's n to the 1st. So 5 plus 1 is 6, so that's n to the 6th. Okay, close it, and then we've got that exponent of 3. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, just like what we did on number 14, we're going to take 14 to the 3rd power. 14 to the 3rd power is 2,744. Okay, the rule here for the 5 and the 3 is to multiply. 5 times 3 is 15, so that's m to the 15th. And then same thing with the 6 and the 3, we're going to multiply them, that's n to the 18th. So that is our final answer. All right. And then part 3 of this unit was to add equations with rational exponents. So if you look at this one carefully, it's going to take 3 steps. Step 1, take away 8. Step 2, we're going to divide by -4. Step 3, we are going to get rid of the 1/3, meaning we're going to multiply by its reciprocal in the exponent. And so our answer is x equals, okay, let me demonstrate again with the calculator in case you forgot. So we are going to take -3, and you should put that in parentheses, raised to the 3/1 power, and we end up with -27. Okay, it must be negative. And then that's what you should write on the line, -27. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go to the next equation. So looking at this equation, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 things to get rid of to get x by itself. So that must mean it's going to take 4 steps. Step 1, add 7. Step 2, divide by 3. And negative 729 divided by 3 is negative 243. You should not get a decimal. Okay, you should not get a decimal because I made all of these so that they turned out nice. Okay, next we need to get rid of the 5, so we're going to do the 1/5. Remember, what you do to one side, you do to the other. Alright, I'm going to need to move over here, so now I'm left with the x minus 8 equals. Okay, now, don't forget, the exponent is odd. An odd exponent tells us one answer. So we don't need to worry about a plus and a minus here. We just need to figure out what negative 243 to the 1/5 power is. Okay, and that's actually negative 3. Okay, I'm not going to do the calculator. You can do the calculator part on your own, and you can pause again at any time that you need to. So x minus 8 equals negative 3. Last step, we're going to add 8. And so our answer is 5. Number 18. Again, looking at it carefully, I see 1, 2, 3 things that I need to get rid of, so that means it must be going to take 3 steps. In this problem, the first step is to get rid of the negative 4. Divide by negative 4. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so that should be positive 8, I believe. Okay, now we're going to get rid of the 3 over 2, and again, the top number, the 3, is odd, so there's only going to be one answer. So I'm going to get rid of the 3 over 2, and I'm going to do 2/3. So I am left with x minus 5 equals 8 to the 2/3 power is 4. Add 5, and x equals 9. Number 19. First thing we want to do is get rid of the 9. The 9 is in the denominator, so we're going to multiply both sides by 9. I'm left with x to the 3.5 power equals 243 times 9 is 2,187. Now, we need to convert the decimal into a fraction so that we can continue solving it. So again, on your calculator, we're going to take the decimal. We're going to use our math button, fraction, and 3.5 as a fraction is 7 over 2. Now I'm going to get rid of the 7 over 2. I'm going to do 2/7. And so when I type that into the calculator, I should get 9 again. Just so happens to be the same answer as number 18. Okay. Number 20. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite that so I do not have a radical symbol. So I'm going to I haven't done anything yet with the 5/3. The radical symbol disappears and I make a fraction out of that. And remember, the number with the x is your numerator, so the 2's on top, and then the 3 is on the bottom. So that would be x to the 2/3 power plus 6 equals 25. Alright, now looking at that, I see 3 things I need to get rid of, so it's going to take me 3 steps. I also notice that the numerator is a 2, so I'm going to have 2 answers. Alright, first I have to get rid of the 5/3. Now 5/3 is not an exponent, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the reciprocal just like we do with the exponents. We're going to multiply both sides by 3/5. Sorry about that. Okay, the parentheses, it no longer is there, so now we have x to the 2/3 plus 6 equals, now, again, 3/5, that is not an exponent. So 25 times 3/5, we end up with 15. Subtract the 6, and we end up with x to the 2/3 equals 9. Now we can get rid of the 2/3, so we're going to do 3/2. And we end up with x equaling, whoops, I forgot to put a plus and minus in front of that 9. Okay. Well, yeah, when I take, not yet. When I take 9 to the 3/2, I need to make sure I put a plus and minus in front of that answer, and that would be 27. So the answer is positive or negative 27. Watch out for that, because if you miss half of the answer on the test, you will lose half the points. All right. Now, the last page is dealing with some geometry review, surface area, and volume. All right. Now, the first part, we want the surface area. Okay, so obviously we need the surface area formula. The surface area formula for a cylinder is as follows. It would be 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi RH. Now, you do not have to have those memorized. Obviously, I do not have it memorized. Now, it says exact surface area. So we do not want to change the pi symbol to 3.14. We want to leave the pi symbol alone. So we're just going to plug the numbers in, and then we're going to simplify as much as possible. So here we go. So we're going to go 2 pi, the radius is 5, squared, plus 2 pi times the radius, which is 5, times the height, which is 18. Okay, I'm going to simplify. So 2 times 5 squared is 50. So that becomes 50 pi. Just a second. For some reason, my pen disappeared. So 50 pi plus, now 2 times 5 times 18, 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 18 is 180, pi, again, do not do anything to the pi symbol, leave it alone. Now, this is just like combining like terms. Add those two together, we get 230 pi, and it would be centimeters squared. That's my answer. Okay, number 22, that would be a cube, because it's the same on each side. The length, the width, the height are all the same, so that's a cube. Okay, that is also considered a prism, and the surface area for that would be as follows. It would be 2 times the base area. Okay, remember the big B stands for base area. So like, what's the area of the bottom of that shape? Plus the perimeter times the height of the object. Okay, so here we go. So first of all, the big B, the base area, well, that would be 12 times 12, which is 144. Okay. The perimeter, let me do that in green. The perimeter is 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. So the perimeter is 48. And the height of the object is 12. All right, I've got all my numbers. So here we go. So the surface area is going to be 2 times the base area, 144, plus the perimeter, which is 48, times the height of the object. Okay, all I need to do is put that in the calculator now. 2 times 144 plus 48 times 12, and I get 864. And that would be inches squared. Again, look at that very, very carefully. That B stands for the base area, and that's 12 by 12, which is 144. The P stands for perimeter. That's where you add up all of the sides. 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 is 48, and the height is 12. And we plug those into the formula, and then that's what we get. Now, believe it or not, number 23, we're going to use the exact same formula. The only difference is it's a triangular prism. That means the base, ladies and gentlemen, is the triangle. Okay, well, the base area, to find the base area, we're going to take 1/2, because it's a triangle, 1/2 base times height. Well, half of the base is 4, times the height, which is 3. Not the 10. The 10 is the height of the prism. The base height is 3. Look at it carefully. Again, it's a triangular prism. So the base area, the B, is going to be 6. Now, the perimeter, this one, okay, now the perimeter. So, again, we're looking at the triangle. The triangle. This side is 3, this side is 4. Now, I know Mr. Honeggs or Mr. Shuck or Miss Stroman, I know they taught you this in geometry. That's a special triangle. If you remember, that's called a 3, 4, 5 triangle. If you didn't know that, you would have to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side. But we have a special triangle where it goes 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the perimeter of that triangle is going to be 3 plus 4 plus 5, and that, I believe, is 12. And the height of the prism is 10. All right, so now we can plug the numbers into our formula, just like we did on the last one. So we're going to go 2 times the base area, which is 6, plus the perimeter, which is 12, times the height of the prism, which is 10. And we type all that in, and we end up with 132 meters squared. Rewind and watch it again if there's something you did not understand. All right, 2 left, and then that's it for the study guide. Okay, in this one, we are doing volume. All right, now, again, I do not expect you to have these memorized. The formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Pretty easy. So here we go. So we're going to take pi times the radius, which is 5, and square it, times the height, which is 18. Now, don't do anything to the pi symbol. The pi symbol is going to stay in our answer. Take your calculator and take 5 squared times 18. You should get 450. So the answer is 450 pi centimeters cubed. Volume is cubic, so cubed. Okay, and you'll recognize this. It's the exact same triangular prism as up above, but this is for volume. The volume of a prism is simply take the base area times the height. Well, we already did the base area up above, but I'm going to do it one more time. So the base is a triangle. So the base area is going to be 1/2 base times height. So in this case, that would be the base, which is 4 for the triangle, times the height of the triangle, which is 3, so that is 6. So the area of the base is 6. The height of the prism is 10. So the volume is simply 6 times 10, which is 60, and then label it meters, cubic meters. Voila. So there's the answer to the volume for the prism, triangular prism, and this is the volume for the cylinder. All right. Good luck on the test.